I think on the 21st century battlefield, there are three reasons that they're going to be hugely important. Firstly, I think the 21st century battlefield, everything moves quickly. Information's networked, right? So everybody's finding out things rapidly. Situational awareness is so much greater than it was even 20 years ago. Therefore, fires can arrive in seconds, and when they do arrive, they're going to be more accurate. And finally, forces are more mobile, so there's far less light rail infantry. A lot more infantry units are mounted and mobile. And so how can a sniper help that? Well, a sniper can basically press pause on a lot of that. They can slow that down massively. And they do that by causing confusion, by attacking command and control, causing casualties, and essentially getting inside the enemy's OODA, which allows a commander to seize the initiative again. And that's all because they have pressed pause on whatever your adversary is doing. I think the second reason they're going to be so important on the 21st century battlefield is the psychological effect that they have. So I think to dive into a bit of Clausewitz, he when he's defining warfare, he talks about will. He says an act of force that will comply the enemy to do our will, right? And the enemy can counter that with their strength of will. And so the way that we as snipers can get inside that is to attack that strength of will. Now, there's a lot of really good research out there about how snipers are perfect for this. And I'm sure if there's anyone listening who's been on the wrong end of a two-way range with a sniper, they can probably attest to the anxiety and the effect that causes mentally on the people that they're attacking. But there's, as I said, it mentioned about research. So in 2002, there was 14 sniper attacks in Washington DC over a 2-week period, and these two shooters essentially caused what this study assessed to be a 30% of the population with a 10-mile radius of where they were. They gave them symptoms of post-traumatic stress, and so you can see. Even just 2 shooters over 2 weeks can cause a huge amount of anxiety, and that's to civilians. So if you extrapolate that to soldiers, suddenly they know they're being targeted. If you're the commander with an antenna and you know there's a sniper out there, the psychological stress that places on you is going to be absolutely huge. And that, linking back to Clausewitz, that attacks the will of our adversaries massively. And then finally, I think the third reason is snipers are going to be really important in the 21st century is that I think whether we like it or not, especially in the UK, a lot of the scope and scale of conflicts that we engage in are probably going to be defined in some way by the number of casualties that we receive. And that's going to be, I think, the reality of the next century. And snipers can alleviate that because, first of all, as you mentioned at the start, they are masters of concealment, so the enemy has a tough time finding them. And secondly, because of their sort of force multiplier effect, they can cause a huge amount of casualties to the enemy with little in return. And so I think that will provide, politically, the freedom of movement in the next century to conduct operations that perhaps wouldn't have been able to in the past.